Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Devlin Norris. I'm the Canadian Distribution Manager for Intel. With me today is Kirk Sinclair.
And I'm a Senior Partner Development Manager with Microsoft's Device Partner Sales team. So normally we have a third party with us. I feel it's a little lonely.
Yeah, it's weird. There's nobody moderating this. It's just you and me. Stream of consciousness.
That's it. But we're excited to be here with the Ingram Canada team.
So for the next 6.5 hours, we're going to talk about AI.
That's it.
You're doing an awful lot of, well, the biggest inflection point, of course, is Windows 11 refresh, which comes up in November.
October.
That's what I meant.
You failed already. October 14th. So if you're watching this after the date, I hope you've migrated all your customers and all your accounts over there. If not, you should pause this and immediately run a readiness assessment and get everybody going.
So what is the process to get resellers to go after their customers and identify Windows 11 opportunities?
Sure. So at Ingram, we've shared this through marketing. We work with our champ, our funded champ, Tommy Tran.
Mm-hmm.
So Tommy also can support you with it, or even Ingram Services. The actual practice is running a readiness assessment. So if the customer's on Intune, you can go into the Windows business portal, you can run a readiness assessment, and it'll look across the devices, find things that are ineligible based on CPU. Typically, it's anything newer than Gen 8 and requires a TPM 2.0. Those are the two big failures. We find those devices and we'll flag them for ineligibility. Once we find those, then you reach out to your Ingram rep and ask for a recommended refresh, and we're off to the races.
And that's where I come in.
And that's where you come in.
So if your customer needs to do a refresh, you should really set them up for success going forward. Your resellers really should look at getting the best value for money. And right now, that would be 15th gen Lunar Lake. That will give them the most runway going forward. We've repriced Lunar Lake such that it's more of a commercial value brand rather than a Halo brand, which is what it was originally positioned as 6-9 months ago. Lunar Lake really provides you with the best platform, not just for longevity, but also to position your client base for AI. It meets the minimum specs for
Copilot plus PC, Windows 11 Pro device, potentially a great device, could be i9 loaded. It doesn't have the NPU requirements for Copilot Plus. There will be some devices that will have a lesser NPU, 10 tops, trillions of operations. And then the Copilot Plus PC, based on the Ultra Core kind of infrastructure, that will have 40 tops, the minimum RAM and CPU on that. And that is a differentiated device. So as we're talking about future-proofing, I would encourage everyone, as you're going through working with your customer, to look at their refresh. You want to ask them what their expectations are around AI at the edge. And a lot of them aren't necessarily thinking about this right now. Right? We see a lot of customers who are very invested in getting their data estate ready for M365 Copilot, right? Starting to put some guide rails in HR so that employees know what AI apps they're allowed to use and which ones they're not. But the next state of this is really going to be AI at the edge or hybrid AI. And that's, I think, where all of a sudden we get really excited.
Yeah, because that's where the real business value is. Maybe we should talk about sort of the three evolutions of AI on the client.
Sure. So from a Microsoft lens, how I would kind of position it to everyone, if you're familiar with the Copilot Plus PC, you've probably seen some of our sizzle reels where we show the Recall app, live translations, the to-do list that has additional functionality, and there's even more in sneak preview. All of these applications are being run locally on the device. So if you killed your Wi-Fi, your translation would still work. So it's not being processed in the cloud and you can run it offline. So that's examples of what Microsoft has kind of built into the device. Is there necessarily a ton of value add that someone's going to go and deploy on that? Maybe not, but it's got a good kind of demonstration. The next area that we're excited about is third-party applications.
Right.
And that's where we're seeing ISVs. McAfee is a great security demo of finding deepfake video and audio, right? So that runs on the NPU, so it doesn't bog down your CPU. So all these things are running. Windows Defender has similar applications all on that. And I think what's exciting is Intel yourselves actually have a stable of ISVs that you're working with, over 300 and like 400 apps, I think was the last time I saw.
Right.
Yeah. So That'll be the piece where, as resellers, you're going to have customers in verticals, and their killer app will suddenly want to take advantage of an NPU on a device.
Right. So first, step one is enhancing the existing application environment with AI. The second one is dedicated applications that are AI centric. And then the third level is where you go into a customer's data set and find the value in that data and put an AI interface around that environment. That provides the best business outcome and line of business solution. And I'll give you an example from Intel. We manufacture microprocessors, have for over 50 years. We have about 40 years worth of trouble tickets. These things are operating at nanometers, right? I mean, each transistor is insanely small. And every once in a while, you get a deviation, humidity, change in the temperature, what have you. And it'll cause something to fail. Every minute that the line is down or that it's punching out bad wafers, bad semiconductors, is literally millions of dollars worth of production that goes down. So remedying that as quickly as possible is key. What our folks have done have built a natural language interface that you can sort and search through 40 years of history. And that is a true line of business application. Now, you want to run that. So let me give you an example. Something goes wrong. You say, I'm having these kind of yield issues. The system will come back and say, what does this look like? Now, a couple of things about that. One, you don't want to run that in the cloud. First, there's latency issues. Those images are huge. Second, you don't want the potential of a competitor ever getting a hold of that data, because that's proprietary information unique to Intel that we wouldn't want someone else to get their hands on. So we run that on the client closest to the line of production. And it's made an enormous difference in terms of uptime for our production facilities. So you see what I'm saying? The first evolution is enhancing your existing applications. Second is buy applications that are AI enabled. The third one is working with your clients to build your own solution that delivers a unique business outcome that, potentially saves them millions and millions of dollars or gets them into adjacencies, that new business lines that they couldn't possibly do before.
And Microsoft has made that easier on a Copilot Plus PCs because we have the Copilot runtime. So there's an API, basically an interface that you can go and leverage that will route your applications to leverage that NPU. 40 tops, and we're probably going to expand that in the next little while, right? That'll keep going up. 40 tops is a lot of resource that right now we're not really leveraging with existing, but that is a pasture for you to go and plant your AI farm on, right? And then go and build and expand from there. And I think that's the exciting thing. Now, in terms of, we're kind of selling future proofing, but I would say that's kind of the AI experience. Like Facebook took so long, everyone's seen the chart of the AI explosion of ChatGPT, right? So hopefully we don't superimpose that. We might. But Facebook took this long to get this number of users, Instagram, right? And then you have ChatGPT that did it over a series of months. And I think the next application for your business is going to be very similar on that. So just encouraging you to look at your assortment and understand, do you have a Copilot Plus PC enabled device in the offering in case your customer suddenly has, I need edge AI compute, and this app is Copilot Plus enabled. That'll be the big exciting future for us. So it's more than just moving people out of Windows 11. Oh, I got to get them cut over.
Right.
It's like, what are we going to sell them to actually make their lives better, get a better business return? And what's the potential use case for the future?
And that's where Core Ultra PC, ideally with Lunar Lake, comes into play.
And Ultra means NPU.
Ultra means NPU. So we talked about NPU a couple of times. And for those of you who've been around for a while, you know what a CPU is, right? The central processing unit. That's what we've been building since for the IBM PC since 1981. And that does addition, subtraction, store, fetch, pretty simple stuff. Then you have a GPU or graphics processing unit. That's really what most people identify with AI.
Mm-hmm.
It really allows for vector processing, very intense compute cycles. And then recently there's been the introduction of something called the NPU or neural processing unit. These all sit inside the actual processor die. The NPU is designed specifically to take on massive volumes of data and process that information as efficiently as possible. Can you run AI applications without an NPU? Absolutely, but it'll tax the system. And by taxing the system, it means lower performance, lower battery life, that sort of thing. Where you have an NPU, it will now offload all of those AI instructions and provide better performance overall and a better battery life, all of the tangential benefits of that. So that's what an NPU is.
So we've covered performance, future proofing,
Mhm.
but the number one reason to move from Windows 10 to Windows 11, aside from end of support and the lack of security updates, but what do you know, and maybe this is a quiz for you, what is the number one reason you want to move to Windows 11?
Better security.
Better security. I love it. Okay, either you've seen me talk or you just know.
No.
Security on the chip probably is the next question. So where's the Intel value prop on security, do you think?
So we have been talking about vPro forever, and having performance but not being able to manage that effectively is a real challenge, particularly in the hybrid workplace that we have today, where so many people are working from home,
Yep.
remotely, potentially, in different time zones around the world. So vPro, which we've had forever, is probably the best kept secret at Intel. What vPro does is it allows you at a hardware level to manage your devices. Um, Let me give you an example. Last year, there was a Blue Friday. Some of you might remember. A certain security firm put out a patch without fully validating it, and we ended up with a blue screen of death globally. And it required a patch, a service patch, at the site where the problem was happening. Administrators who had access to vPro could do it remotely because they could turn that system on even without an end user interference. They could turn the system on, download the patch, reboot the system, all before the operating system loaded. That is the huge advantage to vPro. And now vPro is plugging into Intune.
Yep.
So from within your Intune console, you can manage those vPro functionality.
And that's in preview, but it's coming very, very soon. So if you're not a advanced user or early user, then you'll see it, but we're super excited about that.
So to us, that really is core, particularly in SMB environments like you see in Canada. And for those of you who are doing managed services, this is really something should be a core element of your solution stack, because it means your touch rate drops dramatically for those vPro systems that you have deployed in your enterprise. So fewer truck rolls, better manageability, better profitability. So you could effectively offer lower rates for vPro enabled solutions in your customer's workspace.
And I think you bring up a great point is security is the reason for Windows 11, and hardware-based security is the reason for Windows 11. So we forced UEFI Secure BIOS. We implemented TPM 2.0. So both of these are hardware requirements on the device. So the instruction that it boots before we ever get to the operating system. The other interesting thing that we introduced with Copilot Plus PCs is the Pluton security chip. So we now have a chip that's actually on the die of the CPU. And again, that is integrated security. So we're no longer sitting on the other side of the bus. We're now built right in. And that gives you a chance to update that directly through Windows Update. Again, behaves as a TPM, but keeps the PC even more secure. So again, the next evolution at the hardware level. So that's the next evolution of security on the device as well. So pretty exciting stuff. So I think, as we look at folks looking at their roll-up, work with your Ingram rep. If you've got a preferred OEM, they absolutely have a great assortment of the latest Lunar Lake. They've also got Copilot Plus PC in there, and they can take you through that. If you need help because you're really close to that Windows 10 or you're finding Windows 10 in your customer, again, reach out to your Ingram team. They can show you how to do it if you're a little unsure. They also have a services team that can actually go and perform it on your behalf if you can't get to the customer or whatnot.
So I bring up a good point. Reach out to your OEM team as well. Right? Yep. And work with them, because A lot of systems were bought during COVID. Not all of them were optimal. They weren't simply available. Now you have an opportunity to right a lot of the wrongs that were made in that time frame, and put your customers on the right path going forward. Not just for the workload that they're doing now, but for the workload you and I know they'll be doing in the future. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to wrap up with?
I think that was it. So future use case is incredibly bright. I think we've given you something to think about. Assort that new device in there because AI is absolutely not going anywhere. It's only going to be more prevalent in your environment. So this is one of the ways that you can support it.
Thanks, Ingram. Look forward to seeing you all soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody.